welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, India's largest platform for entrepreneurs. I'm Sunanda Jain. We are continuing to analyze the impact of the unlock on different sectors and industries here in the country. Today, we're focusing on the retail industry. We're also doing a deep dive into the announcements by the Finance Minister as far as increasing the cap on the emergency credit line is concerned for small businesses. What does it mean for entrepreneurs in the retail industry? All of that being analyzed with our three panelists. Let me quickly introduce them. First up, Ravi Saxena, MD Wonderchef; Anshul Agrawal, partner, Mysore Perfumery House; Vineet Jain, Chief Operating Officer, V-Mart Retail. Gentlemen, thank you very much for taking the time to join us on this very special panel talking about the impact of unlock on the retail industry, and retail in every sense of the word, because it's such a broad, industry, and we have representatives servicing different verticals really of this very big industry joining us on this panel, also to discuss some of the key takeaways that we've heard from the Finance Minister as far as SOPs continuing for India's small businesses. We're breaking all of that down over the next 20 minutes. But before we go any further, as always, I'd love to ask our three entrepreneurs in 20 seconds, if you could talk about the business that you're representing for the benefit of our viewers. I'd love to start there. Ravi, if I can come to you.
Thank you, Sunanda. Pleasure to be here. So about 10 years ago, I converted from a professional CEO to an entrepreneur, and I founded this company, Wonderchef, which fortunately has become an all-India leader in kitchen appliances business. And I run the company as the managing director.
Anshul?
I represent Mysore Perfumery House. We are one of the largest agarbatti companies in India. We have one of the largest network of distributing FMCG products in India, and we are exporting to more than 60 countries.
Vineet?
Myself representing the V-Mart here, and basically I can say we are in this modern trade and fashion business since the inception of the modern trade in India. Organized sector, I am talking here. So I think the fair understanding, and largely our stores are in more of the tier 2, tier 3 and tier 4 towns. So that is like understanding the real, I can say, some sense of the rural, what is happening in the rural also in the market.
So let's ask then the big question. Industries which are in the services space that have required that sort of touch, that have required a customer's physical presence, have all seen a deep impact because of the pandemic. What has 2020-21 been like, for the three of you, for the retail industry? And are we perhaps seeing some bit of recovery as we're going into the second half of this calendar year and this fiscal year? Are there some shoots of recovery that we're seeing already? This is open to all three of you, but Vineet, if I can come to you first, because the point that you made, tier 3 and tier 4 and tier 2 towns, that's where a majority and the real picture of consumption really comes about, and you service those markets. What are things looking like on the ground?
So I can say the unlocking, what we are looking at, if I'm talking for the June, okay, there's a good pent-up demand initially. Initially, I think I can say it is going on even right now also. Though there is no revenge shopping is happening, but yes, I think when I'm looking at the what the number we are doing pre-COVID, maybe you can take the example of 2019. A similar set of the numbers are happening, but it's vary from the territory to territory. And it's depending more on the, not more on the COVID cases, it is like depending more on the administration guideline at the local level. So just to give an example like the UP, okay, though it's opening the 5 days, but there's a clear-cut guideline like the store you can open till 9 p.m. kind of. So there the recovery is very, very high. But certain places we have seen that they are only allowing stores either opening in the morning hours or up to 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock. There the recovery is very low. Because we all know that in the retail, largely the majority of the shopping is happening from 4 to 5 till closing time kind of. So I think that's the thing. But initial pent-up demand is very, very good.
What's the picture looking like in urban India? Vineet, Anshul, could you give us a sense of urban India and the rest of India, is there a lot of pent-up demand that is now coming back? When you're looking at figures, in February 2021, 93% almost of pre-COVID sales had been recovered for the retail industry. That's definitely good news. Are we seeing that as a reflection of what's happening in urban India and the rest of the country?
So, Sunanda, as compared to last year, the pent-up demand is very low because last year it was a very strict lockdown, and which is not the case this year. So April and May were very, very slow, but still sales was there, unlike last year. So that pent-up demand is coming, but it is still slow as compared to last year. As Vineet said, it's similar for us that what the figures we were seeing in 2019, similar figures we are seeing right now in 2021 in the first quarter. But there is a good hope that since unlock is happening this time and overall penetration of COVID is very low as compared to what it was before starting of second wave. So I feel that more than the lockdown, there's now a mindset of making most out of the unlock times, because you never know when the third lockdown will happen or when the fourth lockdown will happen. So I think there's a mindset of making most out of the unlock times, which will definitely bring out people to the retail shops and footfalls will happen.
Just to adding what Anshul said, I think, Sunanda, related to the urban market, precisely we are talking, we can choose the city like the Delhi NCR kind of, which is like the representation of the urban market. So what is happening still, I can say the post announcement of the complete unlock till good night, late hours, okay? We have seen the good demand in the high street market, okay? But malls are little still struggling. The reason is that the cinemas are not on, the food court is like partially operated. And even what we have seen since so many players are in the mall, but the problem is that some players already shut down their shops, etc. So mall, the recovery is comparatively much lower than what we have seen in the high street. So, but the good thing is that even after the unlock, I think our couple of shops are there in the NCR also, like example like the Lajpat Nagar or the Lakshmi Nagar, etc. So there both the stores are like largely the standalone store kind of, and the demand, good pent-up demand is there at the initial.
Okay, I very briefly also want to talk about the role of digital. For the first time, we're perhaps seeing a lot more consumers who are being forced to come online to purchase even the most basic things. Someone, in fact, speaking with us here on the Leaders of Tomorrow said that the pandemic has done for the e-commerce space what the pandemic did to the fintech space, forcing a complete disruption really of the business model. Let me read out some figures. India ranking 73 in the UN's conference on trade and developments as far as B2C e-commerce index 2019 is concerned. Things have definitely changed since then. What has been the biggest disruptor when it comes to how technology has been adopted by the retail space, one, and two, in this market, in this industry then, what is the role of O2O? Because I don't think everyone is going to go online. Not everyone can afford to, whether it's the consumer or whether it is the retailer. So the offline model still has to exist. How's that really going to play out in the mid to short term? Open to all three of you, but Ravi, perhaps you.
So very interesting question. I must share the experience of our organization over the last year of COVID, where practically 6 months of retail got hurt.
Yeah.
Wonderchef was one of the few brands which actually grew in that period. In FY21, which ended this year, we grew by about 20% as compared to last year, despite the impact of COVID. And this was purely because of the e-commerce adaptation. Not only as a company, we aligned ourselves to e-commerce completely, but I can see a huge shift in consumer behavior when it comes from the shift from only retail buying to also e-commerce buying.
Sure.
So that fine line has been removed. A lot of people who were scared of pressing the button and ordering something without touching and feeling, they have overcome that fear. And I think this has been overcome for good. They are never going to go back into that fearful space again. This is great for retailers, for brands per se, but it is a challenge for the offline retail outlets. Because as a brand, we can sell from anywhere. But as a retail outlet, somebody like a V-Mart for sure loses more sleep on this than Wonderchef as a brand. And I think that is a challenge that retail has to think about. For us, it's good times because, you know, the biggest challenge in India has always remained building distribution. And that is where the incumbent brands have always managed to keep the young players away.
Sure.
We are competing in our industry with players who are 70-year-old, 100-year-old.
Okay.
We as a young brand will take 20 years to get into distribution like them.
Sure.
But with e-commerce, we can actually compete on distribution on day one. So the entire landscape has changed. It has flattened the curve for new brands. So now it has become, like in US, we used to say, just to compare retail, that if you have a good product at a good price point and you know how to do branding, retail is available for you. You
Sure.
have 10,000 outlets on day one, which can adopt you, including
Okay.
Walmarts and Targets and metros and whatnot. In India, that was not the case. You had to fight guerrilla warfare, distributor by distributor, outlet by outlet. With e-commerce, that has gone out of the roof. And
Okay.
which is why today you see brands and unicorns getting built within 2 to 3 years of launch as brands.
Sure.
So, it could be in product space or service space. So I think that these are very, very interesting times, and retailers will have to absolutely reinvent themselves to stay relevant. Because in the best of times also, it is difficult to make money in retail. And I am sure Vineet will agree with me that it's a tough business. It's an operations-driven, low-margin business.
Gentlemen, I have to take a quick commercial break, but we're back in just a moment. Welcome back with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow. Tonight, we're focusing on the retail industry, talking about the impact of the unlock on this space. Vineet, I'd like you to respond to something that Ravi said, and he spoke about costs. It's a difficult time for those who are in the physical retail space. You had to, of course, take on additional costs, I'm sure, when it comes to screenings, when it comes to health, ensuring the safety of employees, ensuring the safety of consumers. How did you plan for that? And also for a small business, which is perhaps in the physical space, having physical stores, looking at coming back, during the unlock post the pandemic, your advice about how to manage the costs and how to perhaps also at the same time ensure safety of everyone involved.
With the last 2 waves, okay, I think a good number of retailers learned that how to get customer in through the online. Sometimes the people confuse like it's offline versus online. I think that what we have seen, not many customers who earlier did the shopping with the offline, they are doing the online again. That the people who did the online shopping, they are coming to our stores and they are doing the shopping there. So it's depending on their need to need, and depending on their need actually, and what actually they are buying. And fashion typically, what we are in, I think the people come to do the trial, people come to do the to see the varieties, to see the colors, etc., and what is going on them. I think that's the way they are doing the buying. So obviously, as a retailer, like generally the people are coming in our stores from across the city or across the market. So one addition is the online platform, which we created and developed during the first wave last year, and then again further developed during the second wave. So it's also one medium, and a good chunk of the business now coming from this particular medium. But the challenge what I've seen, I think it's very from the market to market. So when you're talking the tier 1 town versus the tier 3 town, I think the habits of the customers are also different. So what I've seen, even though we have the online platform, but people still love to do the shopping through the WhatsApp video call. So a lot of video call shopping, etc., we did during this third wave, and so obviously we have to provide the convenience, etc., to the customer in terms of their shopping.
So let me pick up on that for someone who's saying, okay, I know I should become omni-channel. 1 or 2 things that you want to advise them to say, this is how you make the transition from doing a traditional offline to having a mix and match of online and offline. Open to all 3 of you. Anshul, maybe I could give you the opportunity first.
So I think for somebody who wants to go omni-channel, first you have to think about the technology that will become the base of bringing in synergies between the offline channel, the online channel, any hybrid model that is out there. But otherwise, any medium-sized company or big-sized company will keep juggling with different technologies, different inventories, and will not be able to create a solid omni-channel presence. Second thing I would say would be the policy. Because there has to be certain pricing policy, which doesn't hurt your distributor when you're going online. it doesn't hurt your customer in some or the other way. So you have to really work on your policy that it is suitable for all the channels put together.
Sure.
So policy is one thing and the technology is other thing. I think that these two things will play a very important role when you want to go omni-channel.
Policy and technology, Ravi, what would you add to that?
Yeah, I think it's a lot about content because people like to touch and feel. And we have to be able to give them so much of information with great photographs, descriptions, that they feel very comfortable in buying online. And I think returns policies have to be introduced because a lot of retailers in India never used to have returns policy. But when people are buying without touching and feeling, it's only natural that one has to offer that. And I've seen a lot of retail friends, retail partners introducing such policies, customer-friendly policies.
Very briefly want to talk about the lessons which we have learned from the first and the second wave, and possibly being able to put that into play if there is a third wave, or just going forward in the mid to short term. Business continuity. If you could give personal examples very briefly in 20 seconds about what has worked for you when it comes to business continuity, and therefore your advice for someone watching this interview. What do you want to say? Anshul, to you first.
I would say that have your systems right. Your systems and policies should be in place.
Okay.
First of all, your conscience should be clear. You should have a heart because as an entrepreneur, you have earned money. So have a heart to stand with your employees because these are the guys who will work for you in tough times. 2 months during the second wave, I was sitting at home, but all my factories were running, all thanks to my staff who were out there and working, even at 50% capacity, but they were out there working. So as an entrepreneur, we need to have a larger heart and think about our employees. So there has this COVID first wave and second wave has, shifted that whole focus from bottom line to well-being of our employees, well-being of our team, building a robust team that can stand with a company in any tough time. I think that should be the focus of any company because team will get you through these kind of lockdowns.
Ravi?
Yeah, my advice really would be that given the uncertainty of these waves and the impacts and the local and the central lockdowns, I think one has to preserve cash. Cash is king in such times for business, and businesses don't die because of profitability. They die because of lack of working capital. So I think people have to be very, very conscious of their business model and preserve cash and adopt a business model wherein they can work with lower inventories, lesser debtors, and really have very good cash management.
Let's get closing comments then on this panel. And I just want to read out some figures. The retail market in 2020 was estimated at $883 billion, projected to reach 1.3 trillion in the next 4 years. Given the size of the opportunity, where are the opportunities? What would you like to tell our entrepreneurs to say, hey, this is what I think is going to be exciting and interesting. This is what you should keep your eye on. Vineet, if I can come to you first.
First of all, I can say, I think during March, we were very, very aggressive. Okay, and we decided to open this year around 55 more number of these stores. And the same plan is still there. And even during the lockdown also, we have not stopped our work. Because what thing we have seen, even the first wave also, like the November was outstanding month. And because of the winter, because of the late Diwali, etc. So that's a good response we got. And second thing is that ultimately the things will generally, what we have seen that 15 days, 1 month, here and there, people are like, the world will never get over. That's I think the tagline I can say. And we should have the patience level very, very high. I think what even Anshul covered, like the last time, the business continuity, etc., etc. Even the people take care, etc. I think these are the very, 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 very important thing. And patience level should be very, very high. So we should be very cautious. And as an organization, I can say whatever the expansion plan we have taken, the 55 stores are still on the track and radar, and we'll open that number. There's no any doubt.
Anshul?
I think from retail point of view, when people are sitting at their home for months, when they go out, they would really like to go out to a retail where they can experience something. So I think from retail point of view, we have to focus on just giving them a good experience because people are fed up of sitting in homes. But when they go out, it should be worth it. So that would be the key of giving, how you can change the experience of a customer when he steps into your retail shop. That would be the key to recovery of, post-pandemic recovery in retail, I believe.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, pleasure as always having you here on the Leaders of Tomorrow. Thank you so much for really speaking with our entrepreneurs about some of the things that are happening right now in the country. And here's hoping for better times going forward for the industry and for all of us here in the country. Thanks for your time.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Completely out of time on today's panel. As always, if you have any feedback for us, our contact details on your screens as we speak. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.